week I exhorted Americans and the President to abandon the scourge of socialism in the face of our international pandemic. Not only has Donald Trump made an abrupt departure from his conservative rhetoric, the President has now joined with Congress and signed the most massive multi-trillion-dollar socialist scheme in history. In the face of a national emergency, the President and the Congress have jettisoned the rule of law. The Trump administration's willingness to circumvent the Constitution constitutes a gross perversion of what limited power the Constitution affords both the legislative and executive branches.
New England's Reverend John Cotton observed in the 1600s,
"Let all the world learn to give to mortal men no greater power than they are content they shall use, for use it they will. And unless they be better taught of God, they will use it ever and anon. For whatever transcendent power is given will certainly overrun those that give it and those that receive it. There is a strain in a man's heart that will sometime or other run out to excess unless the Lord restrain it. But it is not good to venture it."
The question we all ought to be asking ourselves right now is this: do we really want government to be God? As a good Puritan preacher observed, they will gladly take that role.
Yesterday, my neighbor came across the street to give me an orchid. While both of us wind up on the opposite ends of the political spectrum, we exist in general societal harmony. As she delivered the beautiful flowers, she went on to explain that she now had to carry papers with her in her car while she drove around during the day for work. I wasn't sure where the conversation was going to go from there, but then she commented that it made her feel strange. It was an eerie feeling to have to carry papers just to work and drive her car.
In Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, the author describes, "That was when they suspended the Constitution. They said it would be temporary. There wasn't even any rioting in the streets. People stayed home at night watching television, looking for some direction. There wasn't even an enemy you could put your finger on." Every intentional patriot American knows that you can always count on the government to take advantage of a crisis, legitimate or purposefully fabricated. Remember the weapons of mass destruction? Make no mistake, the coronavirus pandemic is no exception.
I've often been critical of government exploitation of national emergencies for its own nefarious purposes. I'm grieved to say those critiques pale in comparison to what is presently unfolding. While it is good and right to have the President and governors advising caution and limited quarantine of segments of the population, enforcing lockdown powers under penalty of prosecution or fine, and the quarantine of whole communities by executive fiat is unacceptable. Insolence has prevented many current orders from even recognizing the exemption of churches and religious institutions, or the First Amendment that defines their religious associations. Are state officials really prepared to prosecute pastors who plan to live stream services from their place of worship? Tragically, American citizens are once again looking to government for financial handouts, medical intervention, protection, and security. It was Lord Acton who admonished mankind that power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I implore you, Mr. President, Congress, state legislatures, and governors that have gone rogue, do not be deceived. The powers you shamefully usurp will be placed in the arsenal of future governments to be used once again when they feel it convenient to alter the constitutional landscape of the United States. Rather than playing God, lead Americans to implore God's aid, lest the scourge of tyranny outweigh the scourge of this pestilence. This is Jake MacAulay
And Dominic MacAulay
with the Institute on the Constitution, bringing you the American View. Thank you for taking the time to tune in to our weekly commentary on the Constitution. Here are 3 ways you can help Dominic and I restore our American constitutional republic.
Share, subscribe, comment, and leave a review. This will help others find this valuable information.
Please remember to pray for our work. And lastly, donate using the link in the description. God bless you, and thank you.